Hey, so this video is going to be about 3 things that my husband and I keep at the center of our mind as we're navigating parenting with one another while we parent drastically different. Just a little bit of background. My husband and I have 3 children. We have a 12-year-old, we have a 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old. So our stages of parenting and what our children need from us, as well as what day-to-day looks like, is very different for all 3 children, and they're still constantly growing, and so are we. So these foundational things that we keep in mind really helps us keep harmony in our home, as well as stay united as a couple in front of our children. And then it just kind of helps parenting be more seamless with one another, and it helps our children find security within the congruentness and the mutual respect that my husband have for one another. So if that is something that interests you, then stay tuned. The very first thing that we do is we make sure that we are united in the moment. So that means that if we're in front of our children and either he or I are making some sort of decision, having some sort of narrative with our children, maybe we are doing a consequence, or we are making a decision of yes or no if they're asking for something, whatever that is, the partner that is in the background is going to be all full on board, and we are not going to be having any kind of dispute with one another in front of our children at that moment. During moments like this, I feel like if not careful, there can be a lot of like good cop, bad cop. And in moments where decisions need to be made, it is not the right time for us to be kind of questioning one another. As we're questioning one another, what that can do is create a lot of confusion for our children. And then it also escalates the situation in a way where children can see like good cop, bad cop. I prefer mom's answer versus dad's answer. And then that can slowly nick away and create certain things that we really don't want to have happen with our relationship with each of our children. So the best thing that we have found that has come from this is we have a pretty even keel relationship with all of our children. There's no child that prefers one parent over the other. There's not like this separation in when Delilah wants something, she would be coming to me. If she wanted something else, she would be going to her dad. So those things right there was one of the main reasons why we wanted to make sure that we always showed a united front in front of our children. And we're very grateful that that is the outcome that comes from it. And then last but not least is we want to make sure that we talk about it at the end of the night, because this is how we grow, and this is how we ensure that we are listening to one another, as well as maybe point out some blind spots that the other person didn't see, right? So at the end of the night, we love to come together and talk about certain incidents that have happened throughout the day, and we would be like, hey, what really made you do that? Why did you say no? Why did you say yes? Have you thought of it like this? At that moment, I wanted to do this, right? So we're having this like open collaboration, and it really helps us see the other person's point of view. So if something like that did come back up again, and the same decision or a different decision would be made, at least Miguel and I would be understanding as to why it was the way that it was, right? So all right, that's the very first thing. The second thing that we do is Miguel and I remind each other, as well as we make sure ourselves, as we reflect on our self-growth, that we always stay open-minded and as empty as we possibly can be. And empty in a way where we're not allowing our own biases, we're not allowing our own childhood traumas, we're not allowing our own experiences to penetrate and to fog up all of the room for growth, especially when it comes to parenting. I feel like if you were to even look at studies of child development now versus like when we were growing up, like 2 decades ago, it would be so different, right? So as time is changing, viewpoints are changing, we're discovering new things, we're learning new things. And then on top of that, we believe in the Montessori philosophy here in our home. And one of the biggest things about the Montessori philosophy is the art of observation. So you're constantly looking at your surroundings, you're watching your children, and as they grow, they exude different behaviors, they have different personalities. So as things are constantly changing, my husband and I know that we have to stay open and stay ready to change along with it. And that's something that he and I work really hard to stay like open to, because change is uncomfortable, and sometimes it rubs up against different things that maybe my husband and I were raised in a certain way, and the way that we're parenting might not like resemble like things that are normal to us. So I think the second thing is always staying open to learning new things that are shown to us from like other couples, or maybe things that we're reading, things that we're seeing, things that we're learning from, but also like learning from each other. I think Miguel and I both have very different strengths, and when we allow each other to complement one another, that's really when we shine as a team of mom and dad. So we want to not like stifle the other person's like differences, but we want to enhance how that can play a better role if we added it into the equation. So just constantly seeing things for the good of it, and to embrace differences, and to be open to change and learning new things all the time is something that I think Miguel and I work really hard to do, and that also helps us be ready and fresh and open to the different stages that our children are growing into and the different people that they're growing into. So yeah, that's the next thing. Last but not least, I would say this is the most important thing, is in our family, we are a Christian home. We believe in God, and this is like the end all be all. At the end of the day, this is what we fall on, is our faith, because as we have navigated parenting and watching our children grow and nurturing them and raising them, the one thing Miguel and I have learned is that we have no control at all. And the moment that we realized that, it really helped alleviate a lot of pressure of feeling like if I didn't do the right thing, my children will fail. And I think that's something that happens quite a bit when we parent, is you feel like you're the end all be all for your children. And if you got it wrong, or if you did this one thing wrong, it would just mess up your child forever, which is like every parent's worst nightmare, right? But with faith and with remembering who God is in our lives, we know that we are not in control, and then that there's a plan for our children, and all we have to do every day is go out to the field and work and do our best and grow and nurture them and love them the best that we can, as well as bring them to God and layer in the Bible and bring our faith into the majority of our lives. And if there's anything that my husband and I can give to our children as they leave, is an understanding of who God is to them, and help them gain a relationship with God. And when we found out that if I do this or if I do that, it's not going to guarantee anything, and life isn't guaranteed, and those things, it can be very bleak sometimes when you think about it, but also it can be very liberating, because you just have to be in the moment and do the best that you can in the moment. And Miguel and I do that. And we just tell ourselves, hey, today this was the best foot that we could put forward. And we end the day with prayer. We end the day with telling our children we love them. We end the day with acknowledging that we're not perfect, and we apologize on days where it's really bad. And just to be human alongside of them as they're growing into the humans that they will become is the biggest reward I think Miguel and I have had parenting together with the faith as a core foundation. So yeah, that is the third thing that we do. And this third thing, if nothing at all, is one of the biggest reasons why I think Miguel and I not only enjoy parenting with one another, but we're so grateful to have one another to parent alongside, because it's not an easy job and it's always great to have a good partnership. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there's anything that you and your spouse do that creates a harmonious partnership, please share it in the link below. I love whenever these types of posts turn to an ongoing resource for people, and I learn so much as well whenever I see videos like this. I love to read the comments because it helps me learn and helps me see that so many families do things differently and there's other approaches. So feel free to leave any kind of advice or anything that you do in your home in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.